The Baden Baden Review, brought to you by Guy Carpenter.
Baden Baden, is it simply another Monte Carlo or is it something different?
It is something different. The discussions at Baden Baden are at what I would describe as a more tactical level, where you have the buyers meeting with their underwriters who are going to be interested in their line, that particular client, that particular territory, and they will be starting to discuss in more detail capacity requirements, structural requirements, and it's an opportunity for the reinsurers to give an indication of what they're prepared to make available. You tend to see far fewer CEOs of Baden Baden because of this more tactical level, and there are far fewer very high profile large social events. I think the other big difference about Baden Baden is that we tend to dress in coats, hats and umbrellas rather than in polo shirts, chinos and Ray-Bans.
Guy Carpenter once again hosted the Reinsurance Symposium in Baden Baden, and the question being posed was, has the market turned? With the influential panel you moderated, can you summarise their thoughts on the issue of rates?
Well, we were very fortunate to have a distinguished panel. Chris Hitchings, representing the equity analyst from KBW, we had Costas Maranthis, President and CEO of PartnerRe, as the seller of reinsurance, Frank Majors, managing principal of Nafila Capital Limited, a capital markets supplier, and Clem Booth on the board at Allianz, representing the buyer's view. The overall consensus was that the market has not turned up. There's adequate capacity remaining in the reinsurance market, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be given away. Reinsurers have a choice, particularly with low price to book valuations. The reinsurer has the choice of buying back shares at a favourable price. The other thing is that people felt generally that despite losses that we've seen this year, particularly the natural catastrophes, is that the pain, whilst bad, is insufficiently intense to cause a market-wide turn. And another theme which I think emerged and had already been emerging before is that it's probably not right to talk about a single general market turn like the rising of the incoming tide, but rather that there are many individual markets out there and that the negotiations and discussions will be influenced by individual loss experiences and circumstances.
Outside of rates, what were the major topics of concern in Baden Baden this year?
I think there were several, and if I'll just rattle them off briefly, a lot of discussion about low interest rates and what that means for the investment income, the investment returns of insurers and reinsurers. Investment income is traditionally the largest part of their revenue. So that was being discussed. Uncertainty about the effect of the RMS version 11 model changes. Some reinsurance markets applying it in full, others not so, perhaps relying more on their own individual models. And again, clients really looking for more time to understand the implications. Frequency losses. Europe has been relatively loss-free apart from a big storm in Denmark, but there have been several losses which have not really attached to the reinsurance, and so people are looking at frequency or aggregate covers. The Thai flooding is a subject of increasing interest. Great concerns that here is another non-peak but large natural catastrophe loss, and also concerns about the contingent business interruption around those losses with a lot of high-value component suppliers in the affected area, I guess. And finally, the Turkey earthquake, whilst not a big economic or insured loss, another reminder that every day is the start of earthquake season and that Mother Nature can be capricious.
Now, prior to Monte Carlo, I asked you about potential surprises that might arise as the reinsurance renewal period got underway. What has actually surprised you?
Well, within the industry, I don't think anything has surprised me. I think the biggest surprise for most people was the defeat of Manchester United by 6 goals to 1 at the hands, or rather the feet of Manchester City.